The morning of his wedding, Adrian Cole stood alone in front of a mirror, holding a worn-out gray suit that looked as if it had been bought from a second-hand store. 20 years earlier, anyone who knew Adrian would have been shocked. He was one of the wealthiest young businessmen in the city. At 34, he owned several successful companies, lived in a luxurious mansion, and had a fortune large enough to give him anything he wanted. Yet on the most important day of his life, he had chosen to hide all of it. The expensive designer suit he had planned to wear remained untouched. Inside a garment bag, his polished shoes were replaced with old, scratched leather shoes. He even removed his expensive watch and put on a cheap one with a cracked strap. Then he walked outside and climbed into an old car that had been sitting in one of his company's storage garages for years. The faded blue vehicle made strange noises whenever the engine started. Its paint was peeling, one of the headlights was slightly loose, and the interior smelled of dust and old fabric. Adrian looked at himself in the rearview mirror and smiled. Today, he whispered, I'll finally know the truth. For months, Adrian had been wondering whether his bride, Elena, truly loved him or only loved the life she believed he could give her. They had met 2 years earlier at a charity event. Elena was kind, intelligent, and beautiful. She worked as a school teacher and seemed different from the people Adrian usually met. She never asked about his money, never demanded expensive gifts, and always said that love mattered more than wealth. But Adrian had been hurt before. His former girlfriend had left him after discovering that his business investments were temporarily failing. She had once promised to stay with him through every difficult moment, but the moment she believed his fortune was disappearing, she disappeared too. That betrayal had changed him. When he met Elena, Adrian tried to trust again. He told her about his successful business, but he never revealed the true size of his wealth. He wanted to believe that she loved him for who he was. Still, a small voice inside him kept asking the same question. What would she do if everything disappeared? The night before the wedding, Adrian made a decision. He would arrive looking poor. He told no one except his closest friend Marcus, who had agreed to help. Are you sure this is a good idea? Marcus asked, I need to know. Adrian replied, you already know she loves you. I hope you're right. The wedding was being held at a beautiful hotel. Elena's family had arrived early. The entrance was decorated with white flowers, golden ribbons, and hundreds of small lights. Guests wore elegant clothes and spoke excitedly about the ceremony. Everyone expected Adrian to arrive in a luxury car. Instead, an old blue vehicle slowly turned into the parking area, making a loud rattling sound. People stopped talking. Several guests looked toward the car with confusion. The vehicle shook before finally coming to a stop near the entrance. Then Adrian stepped out. His suit was wrinkled. His shoes were dirty. His hair was slightly messy. He looked nothing like the wealthy businessman everyone expected. For a few seconds, the crowd remained silent. Then someone laughed. Is that the groom? One guest whispered, it must be a joke. Another replied, Elena's mother. Victoria walked toward him with a shocked expression. Adrian, she asked, what happened to you? Adrian looked down at his old suit. This is all I have. Victoria stared at him. What do you mean my company failed? Adrian said quietly, everything collapsed. I lost my investments, my house, and almost all my money. The color disappeared from Victoria's face. But yesterday you said everything was fine. I didn't know what to tell anyone. I received the final news this morning. Victoria looked toward the hotel entrance, where the guests were watching. You lost everything, almost everything. She glanced at the old car. And this, it belongs to a friend. He let me borrow it. Victoria stepped closer and lowered her voice. You should have told us before the wedding. I was afraid of what? That Elena might not want to marry me. Victoria's expression became cold. My daughter has a future to think about. Adrian nodded slowly. I understand. You understand, she repeated. This wedding cost a lot of money. We invited important people. What are they supposed to think? Adrian looked toward the entrance. I'm sorry, Victoria crossed her arms. You should speak with Elena. At that moment, the hotel doors opened. Elena appeared in her wedding dress. She looked beautiful. Her dress was simple but elegant, and she carried a small bouquet of white roses. When she saw Adrian standing beside the old car, her smile disappeared. She walked toward him slowly. "Adrian," she said. "What happened?" He took a deep breath. "My company failed." Elena stared at him. "What I lost almost everything." The words hung between them. Guests began whispering again. Elena looked at his suit, his shoes, and the old car. "You're serious, yes?" For a moment, Adrian could not read her expression. He expected anger, he expected disappointment. He expected her to walk away. Instead, Elena placed her bouquet on the hood of the old car and took his hands. "Are you hurt?" she asked. Adrian was surprised. "No." "Are you in trouble?" "I don't know." "Do you have somewhere to stay?" "Yes, but it's not much." Elena looked directly into his eyes. "Then we'll figure it out." Adrian remained silent. "You still want to marry me?" He asked. "Why wouldn't I?" "Because I'm not rich anymore." Elena frowned. "I didn't agree to marry your money, but everything will be different." "Of course it will," she replied. "Life changes, people lose jobs. Businesses fail, problems happen. Did you think I was marrying you because I wanted expensive cars?" Adrian looked around. Many guests were watching. Elena's mother stepped forward. "Elena, think carefully." Victoria said, "He has nothing." Elena turned toward her. "He has me." She answered. Victoria looked shocked. "You don't understand what you're giving up." "No," Elena replied calmly. "Maybe you don't understand what marriage means." Her father, who had remained quiet, walked closer. "Elena," he said, "this is your decision." She nodded. "Yes." He looked at Adrian. "Can you promise to respect my daughter even if you have nothing?" Adrian felt a painful tightness in his chest. "I can. Can you promise to work hard and never abandon her?" "I can," her father smiled. "Then you have my blessing." Elena picked up her bouquet and stood beside Adrian. "Let's get married." But before they could enter the hotel, a loud voice came from behind them. "Wait!" Everyone turned. A tall man in an expensive black suit stepped out of a luxury car. Several people recognized him immediately. It was Marcus, Adrian's closest friend and business partner. Victoria looked confused. "Why is he here?" Marcus walked toward Adrian. "Adrian," he said loudly, "the board is waiting for you." Adrian shook his head. "Not now." "But the company meeting is important." "What company?" Victoria asked. Marcus looked at her. "Coal International." The guests became silent. Victoria's eyes widened. But Adrian said the company failed. Marcus stared at Adrian for a moment before understanding. "Oh," he said. "I see." Adrian gave him a warning look. Marcus smiled. "Actually, the company didn't fail. It had its most successful year." Adrian's new investment increased the company's value by hundreds of millions. Whispers spread through the crowd. Victoria looked from Marcus to Adrian. "What is he talking about?" Adrian remained quiet. Marcus continued. "And Adrian's new home was completed last month. The estate is worth more than any property in this area." Elena slowly turned toward Adrian. "You lied." Adrian lowered his head. "I wanted to know if you loved me." The happiness disappeared from Elena's face. "You tested me. I was afraid. You made everyone believe that you lost everything." "I needed to be certain." Elena stepped away from him. Adrian's heart began to race. For the first time that day, he was truly afraid, not of losing money, not of losing his company. He was afraid of losing her. "I'm sorry," he said. "I was betrayed before I didn't know how to trust again." Helena looked at him with tears in her eyes. "You could have talked to me. I know you could have told me about your fears. I know, but you decided to test me instead. I was wrong." The crowd became completely silent. Adrian took off the cheap watch and placed it on the hood of the old car. Then he removed the worn-out jacket. "I thought money was the only thing people could use against me," he said, "but today I learned that fear can destroy trust." Elena said nothing. "I wanted proof that you would stay when life became difficult." Adrian continued. "You gave me that proof. But I didn't give you the same trust." Tears filled Elena's eyes. Adrian stepped closer. I don't deserve forgiveness just because you passed some test. I should have trusted the woman I asked to marry me. Elena looked at the old car. Then she looked at the guests. Finally, she looked back at Adrian. I'm angry, I understand. I'm embarrassed, I understand. And I don't know if I can forget this. I won't ask you to. She remained silent. Then she took his hand, but I still love you. Adrian closed his eyes. Thank you. That doesn't mean you're forgiven. I know you will spend a long time earning my trust. I will, Elena smiled slightly. And you're never allowed to test me again. Never. The guests began laughing and clapping. Even Victoria smiled, though she looked uncomfortable. Elena's father walked toward Adrian and placed a hand on his shoulder. You're a lucky man, he said. I know. The ceremony began. Adrian and Elena walked into the hotel together. But before entering, Elena stopped beside the old blue car. She looked at it and laughed. What? Adrian asked. I think we should keep it. Why? It reminds me of today, the day I made a terrible decision. The day we both learned something important. Adrian smiled. What did you learn? That love is not proven by money. And what did I learn? That trust cannot be demanded through tests. She held his hand tightly. We will have good days and difficult days. We may be rich forever, or we may lose everything someday. But if we face life together, we'll be fine. Adrian looked at the woman standing beside him. For years he had believed that wealth gave him security. But on that day, wearing an old suit beside a broken car, he understood something far more valuable. Money could buy a house, but not loyalty. Money could attract attention, but not love. Money could create comfort, but not trust, and trust could not grow through fear. It could only grow through honesty. Adrian and Elena entered the wedding hall together. The guests stood and applauded. Their future was still unknown. But for the first time, Adrian was not afraid of losing everything. Because he finally understood that the greatest wealth in his life was not his company, his mansion, or his fortune. It was the person who had chosen to stand beside him when she believed he had nothing. And as they exchanged their vows, Adrian made one promise that mattered more than any business deal he had ever signed. No more secrets, he said. Elena smiled. No more tests. And together they began a new life built not on wealth, but on love, honesty, and trust.